Hey everyone, it's your girl Shauna J. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I so appreciate you being here. Today's video is going to be a little bit sad, but I hope nobody really gets offended because it's not meant to be an offensive video. I'm just here to share with you guys some fragrances that you recommended to me that just did not work out. So don't let this deter you at all from recommending or suggesting fragrances for me, because I really do love when you guys suggest or recommend fragrances for me. A lot of times they work out, but sometimes they don't. And today I'm going to show you guys the fragrances that you recommended or suggested and it just did not work out. Okay, by the way, if you did not see the opposite video that I did to this one where I talked about fragrances that you guys suggested that I absolutely loved, I'm gonna link that below in the description box, or I'm gonna leave a card or something like that, but I'm gonna give you guys an opportunity to watch that video. Okay guys, so the first fragrance that I have on this list is called Cabotines de Gres or de Gres. I'm not really sure how you pronounce it. Anyhow, this recommendation did come through under my YouTube comments, and when I saw this one come through my comments, I was like, you know what, it wasn't hard to convince me to try this one, because if I'm being honest, I always wanted to try this fragrance. I was super curious about it because something told me that it was probably like a green, fresh, vintage style fragrance, which I absolutely love. Someone asked me the other day if I like green florals. Like, are you kidding me? I adore green fragrances. So when the suggestion came through, I was like, I'm not gonna even think about it. I'm gonna purchase this one. Now, I should like this fragrance. It's given fresh, watery, dewy, green floral with a very vintage vibe. Now, if you follow my channel, you know I'm just one of those youngins. But I like vintage fragrances. I like fragrances that people deem old lady or old fashioned. I like me a good vintage fragrance, especially a green floral vintage. Like, y'all are missing out. But anyway, now I do enjoy this fragrance, but my issue with this fragrance is the dry down. And it's one of those fragrances that you really can't go crazy with. Like, you can't go crazy doing this. I mean, when I wore this, the couple of times that I did wear it, I literally only sprayed it like once and like far away, so it would only mist on me. I didn't want like a full-blown spray because it could be a little bit much. Like I said, it is a green floral vintage style type of fragrance. Like I said, my issue with this fragrance was the dry down. The dry down did go a little bit animalic on me. The only fragrance that I have that I would call a vintage fragrance that has a slight animalic musky dry down is a 360 Degrees by Perry Ellis. That's the only fragrance that I wear that does have an indolic type of dry down. This one was just a little bit too much for me. But yeah, that's all I have for this fragrance. This is Cabotines de Gres. The next fragrance that I have on this list is Furiosa by Fendi. This is just one of those fragrances that I desperately wanted to work out for me, but unfortunately it hasn't been working out. Okay, I absolutely love the packaging and I really wanted the fragrance to be as beautiful as the packaging. Now, I'm not saying it's not a nice fragrance. Trust me, it's a nice fragrance, but this is yet another fragrance that pulls a little bit more like an accord fragrance. Unfortunately, there's something in here that just does not sit well with me. It's kind of funny because it doesn't matter what fragrance I try to layer with this fragrance, nothing works. All I could smell is the incense and the pepper and the woods that we have in this fragrance. So I've tried to layer this with a vanilla scent. I've tried to layer this with a musky fragrance. Nothing really works because there's just something in here that I don't like, and nothing that I used to layer with this fragrance is gonna mask that, okay? So yeah, it's just one of those fragrances. There's a sunflower note in here that gives it like a slightly hazy feel, and I like that. But I think what's really bothering me is probably that combination of the guaiac wood and the incense. It kind of smells like incense burning. It really does. I don't necessarily want to smell like that. So that's my beef with this fragrance. So yeah, so that's all I have for this fragrance. This is Furiosa by Fendi. So the next fragrance that I have here is one that came through on under my YouTube comments a couple of months ago, and I decided to give it a try because it kind of sounded like something that I would enjoy. It's called Wood by D Squared. I did look at the reviews and I did take a look at the notes and whatnot. A lot of people did mention that it smells very similar to Bombshell by Victoria's Secret, which is a fragrance that I absolutely love and never owned. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get it. So of course I bought this one, and as soon as I smelled it, I was like, oh my god, it really does smell like Bombshell by Victoria's Secret, but this one is even better. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Bombshell is this clean, fresh, almost tropical, floral, fruity type of scent. So it has like a bunch of tropical fruits, fresh flowers. It's a very cute, girly type of scent. Hard not to like, and it's the same story with this fragrance. Very hard not to like this fragrance. I must say that this one is a little bit more complex than Bombshell, because it does have like a nice fizziness and woodiness. So it does wear like a floral woody musk, and I do like that. The only reason why I'm super disappointed in this one is because it really doesn't last at all. Like, I could spray the crap out of it, which I have, and it will not linger on me. So that's the only reason why this one has not worked out for me. Beautiful scent, but I just cannot wear a fragrance that doesn't last. I mean, it's just unacceptable. So yeah, this is Wood by D Squared. The next fragrance that I have here was recommended to me, I would say like a couple of months ago. This is called Lady Emblem, and it's from the house of Mont Blanc. This is my first and only Mont Blanc fragrance. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a very nice fragrance, but to me, that's the problem. It's just a very nice, acceptable fragrance, okay? It's not very interesting. You know, as someone with so many fragrances in my collection, I would like to try fragrances that are a little bit more, I don't know, complex, a little bit less linear, just something that's a little bit more exciting. I would say if you're just now starting into fragrances and you're into those clean, fresh fragrances with a little bit of a peppery muskiness, you will probably like this one. I'm trying to think of another fragrance that smells like this. But I'm pulling a blank right now, but that's basically what I'm getting from this fragrance, like a clean, fresh floral scent. There's some fruitiness here, but it's like more of a sheer fruitiness. It's a very sheer fragrance, and there's some sort of pepperiness and muskiness that I'm getting from this fragrance. After maybe a couple of minutes, maybe 30 minutes, you kind of forget that you're wearing it. So that was kind of like my issue with this fragrance. But it's a very nice scent, and it has the most adorable bottle. You know, it's very cute, very ladylike, and I think the name Lady Emblem is quite fitting. So yeah, but it just didn't work out for me. So yeah, yeah. The next fragrance that I have here is by Dolce and Gabbana, and this one is called Love is Love. And of course, this is a flanker to the original light blue fragrance, which I love. And a lot of you guys know that I love light blue, okay? So this recommendation, this suggestion completely makes sense. So it's no fault of the person that recommended this fragrance. If you follow my channel, you probably already know that the original light blue fragrance does not work on me. Now, when I smell the original on other people, it's probably one of the best smells my nose has ever experienced. I don't know why, but I just love the original, especially when I experience it on other women. It doesn't matter what time of year they're wearing that fragrance, if it's in the summertime or if it's like in the dead of winter, it just smells so amazing on women. I mean, it's so intoxicating to my nose. So I developed quite an obsession with that fragrance, and a lot of you guys know that because I talk about it all the time. So for someone to suggest or recommend this fragrance to me totally makes sense, because I should like this fragrance, and I do. It's just that the same issue that I have with the original is the same issue that I do have with this fragrance, and that is it just falls very flat on me. All I get at the end of the day when I wear this fragrance is musk, like citruses and musk. Now this one does have a raspberry gelato accord, which I definitely pick up in here, but it wasn't enough to save the fragrance for me. Within a couple of minutes, it's very hard to even smell this fragrance. You do have to over apply just to get the fragrance to last at least 2 hours. So that's one issue I did have with the fragrance, and like I said, it does fall flat on me. So at the end of the day, all I could smell is like an airy musk, and you know, it just doesn't do anything for me. Maybe on other people this will work, but on me it just does not work, unfortunately. So sad. The next fragrance that I have here did come through under my YouTube comments. This is La Mia Perla, and this is from the House of La Perla. If you're like me, you probably never heard of the House of La Perla. This was my introduction to the House of La Perla, so thank you so much for suggesting a fragrance that I would have never known about, or you know, or even tried. After trying this fragrance, I did start to follow the House of La Perla on Instagram because I felt like, you know what, I want to see what else they have to offer. Now this one didn't hit the spot for me. There are some things that I absolutely love about this fragrance, and there's probably one thing or two things that I don't like about this fragrance. But let's talk about what I like about this fragrance. First of all, I love the scent profile. Okay, this is one of those fragrances that you'd probably call like an accord fragrance. When I say that, what I mean is it's less about the notes. Okay, you know how you smell some fragrances and you're like, oh my god, I'm smelling the apple, or I'm smelling the jasmine. No, this is not one of those fragrances. When you smell this, you're gonna think, oh, this is musky, this is powdery, this is earthy. You know, that's the kind of vibe that this fragrance gives off. So it's kind of like an elevated kind of fragrance, kind of like something kind of like out of this world, and I think that's kind of what they were going for. It does remind me of fragrances like Molecule 01 by Eccentric Molecules. I think the reason why I don't like this fragrance is because it does, in my opinion, okay, pull a bit unisex, and sometimes I don't like that. I like very feminine fragrances, and even if I'm gonna wear a unisex fragrance, it gotta be like really amazing, like a Molecule 01, where that fragrance is just so bomb, it's just so hard to, you know, deny. I think the one note that's really turning me off here is Orris. I don't like Orris. Orris pulls extremely earthy and very powdery, and a lot of times it does overwhelm fragrances, and here it definitely does. So I would say that the Orris root is the only thing in here that I can't, but it's a beautiful fragrance. Believe me when I tell you it's a good fragrance. It's just my personal preference, and the fact that I don't like Orris root, that's really preventing me from calling this an actual love. It could have been something. The next fragrance that I have on this list is Halloween Shot. So yes, this one was recommended to me through my comments here on YouTube, and I did not hesitate to buy this fragrance because of the amazing notes that were listed on Fragrantica. This fragrance has the top notes of daiquiri, hazelnuts, and pineapple. In the heart we have passion fruit, violet, rose water, and jasmine, and in the base we have caramel, vanilla, and patchouli. Oh my god, bummer. But I should have known better, because there's just something about fragrances with alcoholic notes or boozy notes. You know, those fragrances typically never ever worked out for me. I promise you, there's not one fragrance out there that I know of, okay, that has a boozy note or an alcoholic beverage in there that literally like works out for me. I'm always bothered by that note. So the daiquiri in here definitely does not sit well with me. This is a very sweet fragrance, so I do like the fruitiness that comes through once you spray this fragrance out. I want to spray this fragrance, but I don't want to get it all over me, because it's not a fragrance that I like to smell on myself. Now the opening is nice. There's something very pleasant about the opening. I'm getting the pineapple, which is pulling very sweet here, and I do like that. Now the florals also pull through, and I don't have a problem with the florals coming through. Now what I don't like about this fragrance is probably that mixture of the daiquiri plus the undertone, the overall feel of the fragrance. Now if I'm being completely honest, this fragrance did come off a bit cheap smelling. It kind of reminds me of that same feel that you get from Love Spell by Victoria's Secret. Now they don't smell alike, but to me Love Spell just always kind of smelled like cheap to me, and that's kind of like the same vibe that I'm getting from this fragrance. If I didn't take a look at the notes, I would have thought that this is a fragrance that had like a bunch of purple fruits, you know, with maybe a little bit of booziness and maybe some powdery florals, because that is what I'm getting. I think the undertone is what's really turning me off here. Like, it's not bad. Like, I hate that. I kind of hate that when fragrances have so much going on for it, and then there's just this one thing that ruins it, you know? And that's kind of like how I feel about this fragrance. I mean, don't let me deter you from trying this fragrance. It could just be my nose, you know, detecting these qualities in the fragrance, but that's just my opinion on this one. There's just something about this one that makes me think, oh, it's not a quality perfume, and I don't like that at all. The last fragrance that I have on this list is by Michael Kors, and this one is called Glam Jasmine. I've been seeing this one in stores like TJ Maxx and Burlington for a very good price. Unfortunately, I bought mine on Mercari, and it wasn't really expensive, but it wasn't cheap either. So if you have any interest in this fragrance, get yourself to Marshall's or TJ Maxx or to Burlington. I believe they have the 1 ounce bottle for like $24.99. I'm getting the Jasmine. It's very fresh, it's clean, it's very classy, very elegant, okay, a very posh type of jasmine scent. But I'm getting like a toothpaste note, and believe it or not, this fragrance does come off a little bit too elegant for me. I can never find the right time or place to wear this fragrance. I do see like someone more mature or someone older wearing this fragrance. It just doesn't feel like me. So I know if I had tried this one in person, I probably wouldn't have purchased this one, but it's a good scent, you know? Yeah, like it's a very sheer fragrance. It's pretty, it's a very pretty scent. But something here makes me feel as though it's aging me. It's kind of odd because, like I said, I do like vintage fragrances. But yeah, it's something that I would probably gift my mom. Yeah. Okay guys, so that brings me to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're new to my channel and you're not yet subscribed, shame on you. Subscribe to the channel if you love fragrances, especially fragrances that are budget friendly, because that's basically what we do over here. So if this is your first time watching any of my videos and you're wondering, what is she all about? Cheap fragrances, fragrances that make me smell good without paying a whole lot of money. Okay, that's basically what we do over this side. Don't forget to check the description box and subscribe to my beauty and lifestyle channel. I would really appreciate it. Okay guys, so see y'all in the next upload.